about to hear the voice of young Anthony Rosner.
I am a hero. I am a legend. I am Severin.
It's from a bittersweet film he made about his years lost to gaming.
I used to wake up early, log on, play all day, and then go to sleep. That was my routine for over 400 days of my life.
In the game, he looked like this. In real life, he was becoming this. But he didn't start out that way. Here's what the 6-year-olds are playing now. I'm actually in a sled race with my penguin avatar, Jonky Wonky, trying desperately to beat a 6-year-old. Woohoo! I won! 20 points, that means I can go shopping. Like it or not, these are the playgrounds of our brave new cyber world. So when does fun flip into addiction? Are some games riskier than others? How many kids will be trapped in the game?
16 drugs on the round.
There are parents across Australia right now trying desperately to cope with problem gaming.
No.
Often in shame or silence.
Well, there's definitely been yelling matches over it, and I do remember at one stage I took his computer away from him, and I discovered after he'd gone to school that my computers were also missing. So there was always tit for tat, whatever steps I took to try to limit his access to the computer, he would try to circumvent those controls.
Studies from the US and Australia show around 8% of children who game will become pathological gamers, defined as severely impacting their lives. And these days, more than 90% of kids game.
It got to the stage coming up to the end of year 11 where there really seemed no point in him continuing on at school. Another failure on my behalf.
Is that how it feels?
Yeah, I feel that every single strategy I have tried to make him see that this is something that you do for entertainment, not for your life, has failed. The games have really captivated my son, and that is all he would choose to do.
A lot of psychologists don't believe that this is a real problem, partly because they think it's a symptom of other real problems. So if children aren't doing well in school, they might be depressed, they might not have a lot of friends, they go home and they cope with it by gaming. So we studied 3,000 children for 3 years, and we found that the kids who became addicted, their depression got worse, their social phobias got worse, their anxiety got worse, and their grades got worse. If, however, they stopped being addicted, all of those things got better. So it looks like the gaming really is part of the problem.
Not only that, 84% of the kids who were addicted at the start of the study still were 2 years on.
Once they reach that level, it's not a phase. They are locked into it. They probably need some help to get out of it.
So they're trapped?
They seem to be trapped, which is what an addiction is.
But still, it is baffling how a game can make you play 16 hours a day, shut off all your friends. Well, the answer is some of them tap into our deepest motivational drives in an intoxicating mix of pleasure and pain. So are there any clues as to which games to keep an eye on?
Certainly an issue, a cause for concern.
I'm on my way to visit cyber safety advisor Susan McLean.
I'm going to talk about problematic internet use.
She's going to help me put games in a sort of hierarchy of power, based on what motivations they tap into. So let's start with my penguin avatar, Jonky Wonky. I mean, what's going to drive a 6-year-old to want to be part of this? I assume it's social.
Social needs, they're going to be able to hang out with their friends. It's also giving them control. What 6-year-old has much control of their life?
The big socially interactive avatar type games really target this sphere.
These are for kids, and then moving on, we might have something like Farmville.
Yeah, I've heard women particularly spending 5 hours a day on Farmville. Okay, so next motivational drive, we're talking pleasure. This one taps straight into the opiate and the dopamine centres of the brain. And we're talking about a very specific sort of pleasure here, aren't we?
Intermittent reward.
We know that one of the best ways to reinforce you so that you will want to keep doing it is not to reinforce you all the time. In fact, if I said, I'll give you $10 for every 3 times you jump up and down, you would jump up and down a lot. And if I stopped paying you the $10, you'd quit pretty easily. But if I didn't tell you when I was going to give you the $10, sometimes after the 3rd time, sometimes after the 10th time, then if I stopped, you'd keep going a long time because you're not used to getting rewarded every time.
This is well known to be the basis of gambling addiction. All games will tap this drive to a degree.
Halo is one that would be doing this.
So these are these kind of multiplayer...
Yeah, multiplayer online games.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. And even World of Warcraft will have the intermittent rewards.
So this is where from time to time you get special treasures or powers.
Yeah.
Finally, let's get to the flip side of pleasure, and that is pain. So some of these games actually punish you for logging off.
And of course, the main one we're talking about there would be straight up here to World of Warcraft. It doesn't allow you to log off when you want to log off.
Well, it does.
Dinner's ready.
But if you log off before you've reached your goal, you can lose the progress you've made in your current session.
Sean, are you coming? Dinner.
And that's really cruel. I mean, it plays on your mind. You think, well, I've put all this energy. There's no way I'm going to log off and lose all of that.
But an even more powerful one now plays in these massive multiplayer online games, and it is social.
Or do you get a separate ops because you're on...
So in some of the games, what they do is they will give you other gamers to look after. So you're the go-to person, you help them out, you look after them, you nurture them.
In World of Warcraft, for example, they're called guilds.
Oh, something that I can't kill. I'm running away from it.
And it's that guilt trip. If I'm not there, I'm not looking after these people, I need to be there.
Fear of loss, fear of disappointing your team is incredibly powerful and painful.
Picked the wrong
It comes down to the most ancient brain-based survival mechanisms. Fear, pain will trump pleasure anytime.
You know, a well-designed game trades on all of our evolved needs and our fears and our wishes, and including things like being able to do stuff you wouldn't normally get to do.
That's not to say any game is intrinsically bad or addictive, but if you understand its properties, you're better placed to understand the ways it might get under your skin. And undoubtedly, some games hit these motivational drives much more powerfully than others.
I'm not anti-gaming, I'm not anti-World of Warcraft, but we know from studies that eminent people have done that this is a highly problematic game.
And then one day, I was looking through my subscription history. It dawned on me, I started playing on Valentine's Day, 2005. I've been single for 6 years. This is what I really wanted, to be alone and playing Warcraft.
So at what point should a parent worry? Will Jonky Wonky meet other penguins who are even now wiring their brains for future entrapment?
Well, I think some of the warning signs are grades dropping, a loss of interest in other activities that the child used to be interested in, perhaps also giving up some friends, or replacing them only with other friends who game.
The reality is, of course, this evolving cyber world is our world, and everyone must learn to negotiate it. Many games have brain development benefits, and 90% of kids will not be vulnerable to excessive use.
Do your research, get online and play as well. See what it rewards and what it punishes. And then hopefully, with your fully formed brain and your mature mind, you can make a decision for your child.
And if help is needed, specialists are increasingly versed in these ailments. Like all compulsions, even the most addicted gamer can escape, as Anthony did.
I joined the gym. I really started to enjoy myself. I felt alive again. It made me realise it's far more rewarding to achieve your potential in real life.